We're doing all right. We just finishing up a hurricane here. No sweat.
Oh Jesus. Okay. Hope everyone's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Some flooding around. We got to explore and see all the crazy trees down and everything. But other than that, everybody's good.
Awesome.
Does Singapore get anything crazy? Do they ever have what's the deal with there? You guys have any crazy natural disasters that occur?
Yeah, none, dude. We don't even get floods.
Okay. All right. Nice and safe. All right.
Yeah, very nice and safe in my small little home.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Doing all right, not too bad. Just finished another meeting before we hopped on here.
Get the full docket.
Yeah, dude. I had like a 2 hour 30 minutes meeting at about 5 hours ago. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah, that sounds pretty tough. Well,
How long was it?
About 5 hours ago, I had like a 2.5 hour meeting.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's a long time.
Yeah,
Start losing focus there.
My
around
eyes
an
are
hour and a half.
closing and everything. Pern, can you ping the? Okay, you're already doing it. Awesome.
great. Send out a couple pings for some people to join. Everybody listening in, we'll probably give it about, I'd say, 8 minutes to try to rally everyone in the conversation, and we'll kind of get down to business after the fact. So please stay tuned. I think Twitter should be able to allow for a feature for users to play music in the background, right? Don't you think that would be pretty solid?
Did you at Elon?
I should have, huh? Brick, how's it going? Coach, what's up? How are you doing?
GM. The second we get back from Lisbon, the world explodes. But it's we're still here.
How was Lisbon?
Oh, it was great. It was awesome. It was it was productive. It was awesome to get some feedback on the game. It was it was a good move. Were you there, Coach?
No, we had to. Yeah, we were actually supposed to go, and then we made a commitment with a large Fortune 500 company to have a meeting with them, and so we actually didn't go to Lisbon to have that meeting, and then the meeting went better than we could have ever expected. So, very glad we ended up not going. Actually,
awesome.
Let's go.
Smart.
Leaks Alpha.
Yeah, good play. Good play.
Huge alpha. It's actually a company called New Chip, and they're a large accelerator, and they typically help companies get anywhere from $1 million to $5 million, and they've been successful upwards of 75% for everyone who goes through their accelerator program. So we're extremely excited over here at MetaOps.
That's incredible.
That's beautiful. Yeah, good job.
That's funnily enough, yeah, we're actually going through the New Chip Accelerator right now.
No way. That's amazing.
Yeah, we made a post about it. I don't know, a few weeks ago. Yeah, but we started the cohort in September. So
how did you guys meet them?
One of their I guess, associates reached out to me on LinkedIn, and then we took like the first initial call, and yeah, we moved on from there. Met with the one of the partners, and they loved us, and yeah.
It's about the exact same story, except I actually met them in person.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm in Austin, and so I met them at like a big crypto like meet and greet thing, and so it's been interesting.
awesome.
Yeah, so far the info, it's almost like not a master's degree because it's just not quite that much information. But the course that they run you through is really quite in depth. It's like really equivalent.
It starts Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's great. It's actually like very uh informative. It's awesome to have like someone kind of like hold your hand through the whole fundraising process of like down to like the micro beats of like not just like, okay, I get the broad strokes. We have these, you have a lead investor, you have people that follow, like the general movements of how fundraising works, but the course really just goes into like the details of like meeting 1 to meeting 2 to precisely what to expect, what investors are expecting. It's yeah, I mean, so far we've had a pretty positive experience with it.
Moral of the story, guys, don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Even if you think you're at a place you don't need it, you can always use a good back scratch.
Yes.
Almost exactly the case. Yeah, and just a heads up, be prepared to do quite a lot of Excel work, as well as things that, like the basic things like SWOT analysis, lean canvas, Porter's 5 analysis, and things like that. These are like the kind of things that they help you as well to get a better grasp of where you are at your current project, and your understanding of the general market.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you re-ask the question? My bad.
No. I'm saying be prepared to do quite a lot of in-depth
Oh,
work.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're really excited.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a great opportunity. Congratulations on nailing that down. Looking forward to hearing more about kind of where you guys are going to go forward in the future with that. But hopefully everything works out. So yeah, good stuff. But beyond that, welcome, Gyris. How's it going?
Hey, what's happening? Sorry, I'm a bit late. It's 11:30 p.m. here. I am just getting out of bed with my daughter. I fell asleep. So, yeah, man. Thanks for having us. Doing well. Thank you.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you guys on board with us for this conversation. We've got about 2 minutes. I think we'll start promptly at 10. 10 after, so we'll give it a little bit more time. If you guys haven't done it yet, please do retweet the space so we can get some more eyes in on the conversation, or I guess some more ears in on the conversation. So yeah, I think we'll be talking about some cool stuff, especially since we've got all of you guys on board. You guys make a pretty solid panel here, so wouldn't want anyone to miss out on that. Oh, I was meaning to ask too, Guild Saga, did you guys make it out to Breakpoint at all, or no?
No, we did not go to Breakpoint. I'm hoping that we'll get to do a big event soon.
Nice. Mind me asking why you guys didn't come out? Just wasn't in the cards this time?
Yeah, I think they originally planned to, but the push for the investor open alpha build is very soon, so I think they really batten down the hatches for that.
Nice. Love it when love it when projects can prioritize things. So that's pretty solid. Breakpoint was a great time, and it was cool seeing a bunch of other games kind of in operation. I think one of the things that was really highlighted for me was that after a good amount of time, I guess a year and a half, we've all been in the space now. It was cool to see some projects that had actually working demos and stuff that they were building towards, kind of beyond just concepts, right? So I think as we turn over into the new year, we'll be seeing a lot more projects come out with like alphas and like other game modes available for users to start kind of experimenting with, just adding more value to some of the projects that are building in the Web3 gaming space. So I think that'll be really cool for all of us to kind of see going forward.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the pictures of things, and it looked like there was a lot of fun stuff to check out.
Yes. All right, it's 9:10, everybody. Well, thank you, everybody who's in the conversation, for joining in to kind of listen to us, to tune in, to hear more about what we're talking about now. We want to welcome formally, we've had a space before with Guild Saga, but we also want to welcome MetaOps as well as Gyris as official Zanilist partners. Kind of the way I wanted to kind of get this started off was I kind of wanted to hear more about what you guys are doing, and then for the people unfamiliar in the audience with what we at Zoolana are doing, I'll have either the Zoolana actual account hosted by DD or Brick kind of chime in on what's going on. But I guess to start off first, let's hear from MetaOps. Can you guys give us a little blurb about what you guys are doing and what you guys are building in the Web3 gaming space?
Hey guys, so I am Patrick Schulte, the co-founder of MetaOps Gaming. MetaOps is a fast-paced, competitive 6v6 first-person shooter with a gamer-focused experience and utilization of blockchain technology to enhance player ownership. Basically, what that means is we've created a extremely fun AAA game that uses NFTs as in-game customization, so characters, camos, things of that nature, NFT clips, things like that. Will all be integrated within the game. Currently, we are in closed alpha, so you do have to have an NFT to play, but in the near and distant future, we will be free to play and open for everybody.
Nice. That sounds pretty exciting. Okay. Well, we'll touch more about that as we kind of bring everyone else in on the conversation. But next up, Gyris, can you guys give us a little rundown of what you guys have been up to and then what you guys plan on doing in the future and where you came from?
Yeah, cool. We are a film and gaming franchise, so we have a screenplay written, although currently it's looking more like it might be a series of more like a television series. We'll have to see. So essentially, we're like a lore-based MMORPG, and so we're developing films or screenplays, and then also along with that, a AAA quality MMORPG. So we're releasing the MMORPG as a series of mini games. So we'll be we say that the road to the MVP is paved with mini games. So as we roll out the bigger game, we're rolling out a series of mini games that people can play along the way. So our roadmap sort of like about 20 months from now, we hope to have it all completed, but along the way we'll be allowing players to play along with us. So yeah, heavily lore based, as you can imagine, if it's based on the film. So it's been written by the founder. I'm Diggy. I'm not the founder. I'm the community and partnerships marketing guy. So yeah, just very excited to be rolling it out as we bring people along with us.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm excited to hear more about you kind of talk about the expansion of the IP and building into this kind of like short story, at least short series type of deal. I think that's a very important part for games to kind of build out that element of themselves, you know, for users to kind of build an affinity towards the branding. So we'll definitely touch more on that in the future. All right, Guild Saga, we had you guys on last time, but can you just give us a quick rundown on what you guys are up to and what you guys have planned for the future?
Yeah, we'll just keep it short and sweet since we just did one. Guild Saga is a turn-based role-playing game. If you played any of this style games growing up, let's say Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre, you have a good idea. We're adding a different spin to it with some Web3 features. We want to include older games like didn't have. Another new Divinity Original Sin will give you a good idea of where to bring a more like replayability aspect to the game.
Nice, pretty exciting stuff. All of you guys are up to some pretty cool things. I think it's exciting that we can have all of us together now in this kind of this room and have this conversation around what you guys are doing to learn more about you guys. Cool. Good stuff. I guess the first thing that I kind of wanted to, and I'm opening up the floor now to everyone to have kind of a cohesive conversation around this kind of stuff. But it's just going to be more specifically me asking about kind of the team composition and like what comprises your guys' current structure. That being like, how big is your team currently, right? I guess for the individuals here who are familiar, our Zaniless process is us trying to create an extensive network of some of the builders and movers of the Web3 gaming space. And so we kind of want to understand more about the pain points that each team has been having around how they've gone onboarding new members into their platform. A point of a network is that you should be able to find kind of like your missing pieces and create something beneficial for your overall experience as a team. And we're trying to offer something similar to that with our Zaniless process. And so kind of understanding where you guys are at now with your individual teams and where your pain points have been, how you can improve is going to be beneficial for us. So I guess first question is, how big is your guys' teams currently? And anyone can really start with this, and we'll just kind of go through that.
I can start if I need. So yeah, MetaOps, we've got about 26 total. Most of those guys are contract developers, things like that across the world, both in the US, Brazil, Netherlands, Japan. Our artists really live all over. And then there's about 7 core team members who really do everything under the sun to get this game out. I mean, really, I would say our biggest problem is just simply time. I mean, a lot of it takes just a lot of work because a lot of the stuff we're doing has never been done before. And so there's a lot of times where we're just having to sit there and do something completely new where there's no documentation walking us through it and things like that. So those things tend to take a long time. And so I would say, yeah, our biggest problem is time. I wonder if you guys have any similar things like that, any similar pain points that revolve around the length that things get done.
Yeah, almost definitely. I feel like people tend to underestimate how tight the schedule is when you want to pump out a quality game that has a lot of features built into it, and the kind of the back end and front end integration that goes like that. There's a lot of things that goes into it. Like, it's not just designing the game. Like, designing the game and balancing the game is already hard enough as it is. But once you combine all of the elements together, like the front end and the back end stuff, and especially don't even get me started on the process of art creation from concept art all the way to like 3D. Like, that takes a long time. And especially if you have a high expectations or a high bar to set to what you want your art to look like yeah, revisions, a ton of revisions are to be expected even during concept phases, right? So just imagine if, let's say, for example, you want a character art to be done from this certain artist for a concept art. Approximately they're gonna take at least like 2 to 3 days to pump out the first variation of it.
Even if it's a grenade too, a character usually takes more than that. Like, you guys, it's crazy that I'm talking to somebody like understands my plight.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, yeah. Like, sometimes characters, they take a long time. Also because it depends on the artist that you work with as well, because some artists do get the vision of how a character art is supposed to be like, right? So on a very base level, how character art is supposed to be, they have to have the base understanding of it, right? Because people tend to gravitate towards characters that sort of reflect certain characteristics, or they need to have significant characteristics in order for them to stand out, sort of like a hero character. So all of these basic understanding of character design needs to be embedded inside, the artist that you're kind of working with.
Yeah, some great points on that one, guys. Gyris, do you guys have any similar pain points around that, especially with like trying to like create your, I guess, the branding and imaging behind your games?
Oh, for sure. The design, and then you have the rigging as well, which is like basically putting a skeleton on them. Just that whole process can take ages. I think A lot of times, like at least from a marketing point of view, too, it can be really difficult to try to get across to people what it is you're trying to do. Like I think the space we're in is very PFP focused, and people haven't really seen a good game yet. And there's sort of like everyone's just waiting, you know. Everyone they sort of know that gaming is going to be the next big thing, but they just haven't seen it yet. So it's really quite hard to sell because we're in this space where it's very hyped, right? Like everything's based on hype, and games just take ages to make. Like so you just don't have that sort of hype to build and then release. Like I don't know, I find it really quite difficult. It's not quite the right audience, but at the same time, you have to be selling to these, like, you know, the degens. But what you really want to be doing is selling to gamers. So I don't know. It's quite a difficult task. I find, at least in that circumstance.
I think I think there's a balance between trying to appeal to Web2 gamers and Web3 gamers, especially if you are a blockchain game. There are certain benefits to being a blockchain game at its finest, not counting Ponzi-nomics, of course, but there's certain virality marketing
LOL.
techniques that you can use in a Web3 gaming community that you are not able to use in a Web2 gaming community. So I think at different stages of your product, you should be using different go-to-market strategies, and I feel like that's um, a point that not many games have really went into topic about.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, it's like, you know, we're at the beta stage now where we really want to be like we're really close to opening it up to more players. And I think beyond Web3 and having that experience without having to own an NFT is going to be like super important. And so it's like, how do you balance that with the people who have already invested and bought into it? Like you want to offer them a certain experience, but then you also want to onboard a bunch of different people. Like you can't just rely on sort of the NFT community to keep it going. So I think, yeah, that go to market, those different those different stages are really hard to tap into. It just hasn't been done. Like we really don't quite know how to do it yet. So everyone's just sort of feeling their way through it.
Yeah, I feel like unless you are a AAA studio, you kind of have to go towards the usual user acquisition route because you don't have that kind of reputation for people to get excited about the game, watch your trailer and things like that. So I think in terms of Web2 user acquisition, it's all just paid acquisition. It's just you got to balance your cost per acquisition and just work with that, man.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, you talk even like a trailer, right? Like that takes heaps of time to build a trailer. And is it, it's sort of this necessary evil that you have to do because it's not really reflective of your gameplay. It's like sort of this hype thing where, you're just showing your characters animated in certain circumstances or certain situations that may not even be like actual gameplay. I don't know. I find it really confusing. It's been as a gamer, like growing up, like I remember like loving to see the gameplay, and then all of a sudden she started changing. Like it was way more cinematic, right? Like, and it wasn't actually like the gameplay that you were watching. It was like hype vids, So you didn't really know what you were gonna get until you actually got your hands on the game. So on one hand, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like I want it, like we gotta get people hyped. But on the other hand, I'm like, why are we putting out shit that people don't aren't? It's not actually what the game's gonna look like. I don't know. It's crazy.
I feel like depending on the genre of the game, it highly depends. Yeah, it actually highly depends on the genre of your game. But even just for like mobile gaming, you can see ads on like YouTube or Google ads for games that are not necessarily showing their real gameplay. Like for example, strategy games, right? And I think there's an edge and angle here to kind of it all depends on what you're optimizing for when you are running your ads, right? Are you optimizing for user acquisition for cost per install, or are you optimizing for conversion, right? So I think in different in different ads, you are optimizing for different things. So, like, I do agree that normally trailers are just hype videos, but I think there's an angle here where games in Web3 can really incentivize people on all directions during their paid user acquisition process, from different angles of trailer. Like, for example, you not necessarily everything has to be of a high quality cinematic quality type of trailer. You see, low level Rise of Kingdom trailer, but as long as the conversion's good, all it I mean it all boils down to just math, right? As long as your ROAS is good, like, who the fuck cares what your video is gonna look like?
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you guys. Have you guys started sending ads then? Have you are you in the process of doing that? Like, what channels are you sending it through? Like, yeah, I mean, we don't have to discuss it now, but I'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, shoot the main account and
Coach, what?
oh, sorry. I was saying if you shoot the main account a DM, Noah will see it, our marketing guy. He runs ads on, I'm pretty positive, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And then there's more. So, and then there's Twitch ads and stuff like that. But I mean, the options are limitless.
Yeah, almost definitely. I feel like there's a lot of just I think just Googling and researching on the type of ads that AAA games are putting out right now, especially those that are profitable, will give you, a ton of insights on, what's working for them. For for games like us, which have, limited money to work with, I feel like you don't necessarily have to go to the extent of doing like 1,000 or like hundreds of A/B testing. Whereas if you can try to imitate whatever genre works for them, like, for example, if you are a FPS game, researching on the type of FPS ads that have been optimized to a level of ROAS, especially if they're profitable, and if you go in that direction and try to imitate it, I yeah, you just eventually save a ton of money. Not saying that it's a sure hit, but rather than just hitting blind, I feel like having a copy to imitate or get inspiration from would be the way to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, and it kind of leads me on to another segment. I'm kind of curious as to hearing more about like what you guys going about doing for your marketing outreach and stuff, in the sense of like working with partnerships and collaborations with other projects. I know it can be pretty daunting sometimes reaching out to projects, going through various channels like Discords or Twitter accounts to try to get to the right person. And so I'm kind of curious in hearing more about what you guys' thoughts behind that process is for yourself and how effective that has been for you to garner like real marketing attention or real user attention via outreach of that nature. I guess we can start with Guild Saga. Do you guys have anything on that front?
Yeah, I was gonna say the way that you have to do it now is just so time consuming. That's one of the reasons that I was so excited about the whole Zanny list idea, was just to get everything in one place. Because yeah, you'll spend hours and hours and multiple contacts on like one Discord before you actually talk to the right person. You'll think you're talking to the right person. You'll pitch them something. You'll send an idea, and then they'll get back to you and be like, "Oh, okay, well, let me get you in touch with this guy, and then let me get you in touch with this guy." So yeah, all that stuff is so time consuming. And in the world of Web3, all these things are like so time sensitive that you really need to get things done quickly. So anything that can help us affect the shift. Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, bravo.
No, yeah, please continue though. That's like you sounded like you were going off on something right there. And we obviously couldn't agree more with that, right? Like hence the clapping on that.
I just prefer to bask in the applause.
No, you deserve it. That's such a true point though. It's such a hard time being able to contact the right person. It's like infuriating sometimes, especially like you're never really sure how long it takes someone to respond, right? Like you reach out you're like, okay, it's been a couple of days. Let me ping you again. All right, nothing still. Should I ping you once more? I get how that
Yeah.
can be.
And then it adds on top of complexity when you want to do a multiple like project collab. So I'm sure that you guys are all over the place. So it's like, okay, well, you finally got the right contact for this guy, and now you're trying to get them together to do a spaces or like whatever. And it's like, okay, well, now this guy is not responding, and we were all supposed to do it together. I mean, it gets crazy quick.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, for like the stuff that you can successfully like push through, like how effective is that for you, and how well have you been perceived by other like community members from like other projects and stuff?
I think some of it's been pretty good. I know like Solo Fox and Catch King have been some good ones for us that we have a lot of crossover, and it helps spur a lot of conversation in the discords too, and just keep engagement going. So a lot of these people have similar interests. So just any sort of like chatter that you can even have in your own Discord, even about other projects, is like helpful to just keep people active in your Discord. Because if you have all these cool things coming, but there's nobody there to hear it, what's the point? So keeping everybody engaged with just the ecosystem in general is a really important thing.
100%. And so when you like reach out for collaborations, I know you mentioned Catch Kings just now, and they have like a fairly similar style, at least artistically speaking, to your own game. Do you see that there's a better affinity for you matching someone else's like user base if you reach out to a project that has a similar art style, or does it necessarily matter?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely think that the crossover is good. I mean, a lot of the people that get into that have stayed with these games now, through this bear market, are there because they like the gameplay or they like the style of game that's happening. So yeah, a little cross pollination with similar games seems to be very effective. I would say early on, like when we were still booming, it probably didn't really matter because there's so much speculation. People were just like, oh, game. But now it's like, okay, the staying power needs to be something that people are interested in. So yeah, I think that staying in a similar like genre at least is important. I don't know if the art is as important, but like a similar game style or something like that is pretty important right now.
Gotcha. No, 100%, right? I mean, in this bearish market, it's definitely the sentiment around the games that makes people want to stay. It's definitely around community as well. But I guess I'm opening the floor now to ask like Gyris or MetaOps. Have you guys partnered with like let's say projects that don't necessarily have any resonation with your kind of core brand or gameplay, even like maybe even projects that aren't even associated with Web3 gaming? Have you guys done any of that stuff, and how well has that worked out for you?
We're partnered with the shoe company.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's
Can you
kind
tell
of
me?
cool.
Yeah, tell me more about that,
Um,
please.
yeah, so it's called it's Blank Souls, BLAKSOLES. It's a guy we met in Dubai actually who uh, he makes a soul. He actually just partnered with Solana, so I think he actually got a little more official now that I think about it. Um, but basically, we just had him make a shoe, and it's now a MetaOps shoe. We're waiting to put it on our merch line, but it's basically like a shoe brand that is registered to an NFT, and then it sits in like a case, and it's like the shoe is like floating. Like I guess it's done with like a magnet, but the it looks cool. It looks sick. I'll have to go find the. Let me just go find the tweet real quick. Noah wanted me to say this. He's actually dropping. He's dropping his kids off at school, but our vetting process for our partners is that we break it down into actually a score system. And so that actually helps us determine priority of what partnerships are best and things like that. And then he's also saying that we pick our partners based on target demographic interests. So if there's an overlap with a specific game, we like to partner with people like that. That definitely makes sense. I've definitely been seeing that. I would say usually we don't 100% do partnerships with people who are completely random just because we want it to make sense if we're doing a bunch of work. Um, but I mean, the more the merrier, you know? That's why our DMs are open. That's why my DMs are open. I do partnerships all the time, even if they're not even close to our chain.
Gotcha. Interesting. So, how effective would you say that is most of the time then, right? Because I mean, like if you're thinking about it, you're expending resources, and so you want to see something come out of this partnership. How often do you see something come out of it, and like how satisfied are you with that outcome?
Pretty satisfied. I'd say we do it very well because when we partner, we do a Twitter space, we do a game night, and then we do a tournament.
And so there's 3 different points of contact when we do these partnerships. So we're able to engage, I would say, a big portion of their community, and we're able to send guys to them. So it's not like it's just we signed an agreement, post a Twitter post, and that's done. We make sure we actually go and talk with them, and then their gamers are actually coming and playing and stuff like that. And then we try to do a step further past that. I mean, with EFAS especially, we already have our knives in their game. And so you can actually get one of our knives off the marketplace and then go play with it in EFAS if you got bored of MetaOps one day. So I don't know, I think they're very valuable. I think that you just have to be really smart about it. And I think that you have to do your due diligence in the beginning and make sure that you're doing those things where you're like those game nights in the Twitter space, like make sure you're getting multiple points and multiple instances where you're talking to their community so they can see you and know you. And remember, Noah was telling me it takes like 7 different times for someone to see you to actually join your stuff, join your Discord, join your game. So, I mean, you definitely just got to keep going.
100%. No, that's a really good sentiment. And I think having like cross-pollination of in-game assets is going to be a really cool opportunity in the future. I'm personally a big fan of interoperability between assets, especially between games. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for games to start collaborating with each other in that front. But yeah, couldn't agree more with that. That's super cool. Gyris, what about you guys? Your guys' partnership strategy, how have you guys gone about kind of like advocating for your brand through cross-pollination with other games? Like, what have you guys been up to? And I kind of want to hear more about your plans for incorporating, I guess, partnership content within your short story series. Do you guys plan on doing anything like that with special partners?
Yeah, this is where it gets a bit tricky for us. I think like because our lore is so specific, right? It doesn't make sense for us to collaborate with other people right now. It's a bit unfortunate in the sense of we're just our IP is just so specific and so large in itself that if we were to bring in other projects into like our universe, it just wouldn't make sense at this point. I think back in the day we had a chat with Yaku and like we were sort of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to get like some of the border on some of the motorcycles or have like the back and forth, that interoperability where you're having like their stuff in our game. I mean, in terms of like actual gaming assets interacting in other games, I think that's a bit tricky. In terms of collaborations, I find that the most useful things are the people who really stick around tend to be games like gamers or projects in a similar genre. They tend to be they get it, they get us at least, and they enjoy what we're doing, and they tend to come back into the Discord. I find that other projects that aren't even other gaming projects, so if it's like a first person shooter or whatever, it just doesn't like our game's so because it has like such rich lore, it doesn't always make sense. Like I think somebody who's playing an FPS game and somebody who plays like Skyrim, right? It's very, very different types of games. So even from a gamer standpoint, it just doesn't really always resonate. Although gamers are gamers, and you're gonna have people who play both. But yeah, it's a bit tricky. So collabs, yeah, I'm pretty. You get so many people coming into your Discord like, yeah, we want to do a collab, and then you look at it and you're like, yeah, this sounds like a rug. Like it's just, I don't have time to really be fucking around with everybody who comes in. Like unless it really blows my mind straight away, I just find that most of the time, it's just not worth it. Like I'd love to do collabs with some of the more established projects, but it's just like games and like say Cats on Crack or Monkey DAO or D-Gods, like these guys get hit up for so much stuff that it's really hard to, unless you're going to like incorporate them into your gaming model, they probably just don't have time, so I don't know, it's tricky.
I think I generally do agree with having different games partner up with you. in a sense where, yeah, if anyone doesn't know, like for example, for FPS players, you got to know your audience, right? When you partner up with these people who have like existing gamers who are interested in FPS. Fun fact is that I think, if I'm not wrong, about 40% of FPS players play strategy games as well. So in terms of like partnerships with cross project pollination marketing, I feel like you should be able to find certain projects in terms of affinity with different games that actually fit the genre and have some sort of overlap. And I feel like that's still gonna be beneficial towards your own project in that
You
sense.
also don't have to put, you don't have to put assets and you don't have to put things in your game. I mean, some of the stuff we have in other games, like we have a MetaOps, one of the character skins just like on the ground, like he's been killed and he's like laying in the back of the map in one of the games. That's actually unreleased, but another game, Solana or Sovana, our little MetaOps guys are just running around in one of the cities and they're actually like playing paintball. And if you like walk up to them, it just says like, "This is MetaOps Gaming, a first-person shooter on Solana," yada yada yada. And it's little things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like we've definitely chatted about ways that we can incorporate other things. And yes, it's pretty cool about Solana. We got a little pixel character as well, but yeah, I don't know. There's just so much going on that I sometimes find it very difficult to sort of keep up with everything that comes our way. It's not just like collabs from other projects, but it's like, we got this marketing service and we got this thing. I mean, you just get inundated with requests from all angles, and they just, with so many scams going around, you really have to be very careful about who you're talking to and like what they're asking you to do.
Or are you talking about the people that are going to help you with marketing that have like 100 followers and they want to know if you want to give them, $1,000 up front for them to help you out? Those guys?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it could be that. It could be like we got chat bots. We got, here's the services we offer. I mean, and then that's just in the Discord. And then you get into your Twitter DMs, and it's like, that's just like another like another world in its own as well. Like there's so many people reaching out and and there's a few golden ones in there. Like, so you sort of have to like look through it all, right? Because you'll find that there'll actually be some useful ones in there, but for the most part, it's just rubbish. It's just time consuming. It's just time consuming to sift through all the bullshit that you have to look at.
Yeah, I feel like that's almost definitely the case for us as well. Like the amount of DMs that we receive on a daily basis from these people, it's not fun, but you have to weave through the bullshit in order to find some of the good stuff that comes in along once in a while. So, I mean, I feel like that's part of the process. And, to add on to your point on games who plan to rug and everything, I feel like if they have a track record of building for a long time and they are delivering gameplay stuff, they are giving updates fairly regularly, I feel like, I think that's like definitely one of the criterias when we are asking people for partnerships in ZeniList, right? So similar to what MetaOps mentioned just now, if I'm not wrong, I think Coach mentioned that they have like a scoring system that they do. Internally, we do have that as well, and I feel like although right, it's not perfect, but the chances of people rugging in that pool is significantly lower.
I mean, personally, I'm really looking forward to a space where we can hook up with gamers. Like, I'm hoping that this is what ZeniList is going to be, because it's sort of like, I don't know, people probably know about Ghost and his little gaming guild. But there's not like a whole lot of sort of Web3 gaming guilds. I mean, there are, but not
You're not
like
looking at the right
people that
place,
we
big
know
dog.
of, like, so I feel like
What do you mean?
just
Dude, there's
hasn't been
tons
done
of
yet.
gaming
Like, I'd
guilds.
really love a hub. I'd love a hub of people who just want to game and are in gaming.
Fractal Gaming, Fractal.is. That's one. You can go to 3DGG. Actually, they changed to Degen Legends. You can go to Avocado Guild. You can go to YGG. You can go to Earn Guild. There's so many Web3 guilds. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Like, if you really think that there's none, you must not have been looking, dude. I mean, I think we're partnered with, what, 9 or 10 now? And I think that's because we started limiting it because it's just, we don't have enough content for them yet. We're actually now building out a whole wing of our business just to handle guilds because it's such a huge tool for us. I mean, I think guilds are one of the biggest catalysts in this space. I think that everyone in here needs to be in a guild, and they will be in a guild in the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, I think that's going to be the newest way to get content, newest way to get positive games that aren't going to scam you, things like that. Another thing I was going to say is, guys, there's a lot of scam games out there I've seen. There's one that looks just like it looks just like Blast Royale, which is a game on Polygon, and you can, if you connect your wallet, it'll drain you. And so,
Yeah. Have you
just
seen Everseed
really
one?
be careful, guys. What? Tell me that one.
Yeah, there's like an Everseed like copy that's like a trainer too, and they basically just stole everything from Everseed. It's let's see.
That's crazy.
Um,
Yeah, guys, official links. I'm telling you,
Play
official
Superseed.
links.
So stay away
I mean,
from Play
everyone.
Yeah,
Blake.
Yeah, look, I went on
the name again, Blake?
I went on a gaming guild adventure like months ago, so I might need to go back and just start hitting them up. I found a lot of the gaming guilds were like they weren't really well put together. I don't know, maybe it was just the ones I was going to, but like some of them just were not well organized, or they just wanted more. Like they just weren't ready. Like they wanted more gameplay, and we just didn't have it. So.
Yeah, I can see that. I was just going to say that keep trying. Don't ever stop. I mean, we've been at this for 14 months here at MetaOps. And at the beginning, I mean, we had one map, 3 guns, and that was it. Now we're at 3 maps, 3 game modes, and we have a whole bunch more coming. And a lot of that was due to a lot of guilds have really helped us along the way. I would go talk to Degen Legends, I would go talk to Earn Guild, and I'd go talk to Clipstyle. Those would be 3 really good guilds that I would say do a lot in our ecosystem, and they're focused on gamers. So they really like onboarding games, and they like partnerships because they're bringing better stuff to their followers, their gamers, and you know I like that because it's doing everyone a favor.
Yeah, we've
cool,
actually
man.
partnered with Degen Legends in the past and done some spaces and co-marketing with them. Yeah, it is interesting. I think socially, there's a lot of groups in this space that can co-incentivize because guilds are really interested in bringing forward good games to their members, and games are really interested in the marketing that guilds can provide. So I think for anyone, it does make a lot of sense in this space for any gaming project. These kind of social partnerships are really valuable and really key. So yeah, definitely an important thing to be leveraging.
Yeah, I think even just going back to Zanis and what it could possibly provide is just even this, even knowing what guilds are worth talking to, and there's just that sort of higher level where you're developing a game and you want to know who to go talk to, or finding gamers that are interested in what you're doing. I feel like there's just a missing part that we haven't quite got community wise where people can congregate. I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping that's what this is.
Yeah, I would agree. I think as far as a go-to place, especially for gaming projects and for professionals in the space, we have some options, but there isn't necessarily a gaming town hall where everyone kind of congregates. And we at least think that would be extremely helpful. I mean, even from a hiring perspective, is you want people that are familiar with games and familiar with Web3. It's like those are fairly, the intersections of those niches. Like there's a lot of people in there, sure, but you do have to know how to reach out to them and how to find them. So um, this, I mean, as an idea, Zanulist is something that we have thought would be really valuable for us, and it's nice to hear that other people kind of agree.
Yeah, please give us please give us Unreal devs. That's the one thing we struggle to find. Like good ones, like really, really high quality Unreal devs. Like, if somebody could just open a business where they just have a bunch of Unreal devs on hand, that'd be sick.
Yeah, dude, let's find them. Let's get them in here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, those are all some really solid points. And at the end of the day, I think there's like a mismatch of communication between interested parties and people seeking help, right? And so if there's a way for us to kind of kind of bridge that gap, allow for people to find all the information they need in a timely fashion where they don't have to waste time looking for stuff, sifting through all the noise, but also like very validated and like actual useful help from interested individuals who are passionate about the things they're crafting. That's an invaluable community and tool that if anyone was a part of or could tap into would make their overall projects and experiences better for their communities, right? So there's definitely a lot of room for us to grow and improve, and like we're trying to create that type of ecosystem that allows for just that. And the Zenny List is going to be a part of that. So I mean, we're really happy to have you guys all on board as partners as well. And there's a lot more to come in the future. So let's just keep building a community that we're all proud of being a part of. So pretty cool stuff, guys. I guess I had some more questions that I kind of want to touch on, and it's more pertaining specifically to the current market conditions. It's kind of inevitable that we have to talk about this kind of stuff, given the fact that everything has been pretty tough quite recently, given around like the price of Sol or even the overall macro environment for markets itself. Just chatting up, just catching up and seeing how everyone's doing with like the downturn. If everyone's still feeling all right, this is a time for us to kind of get together and like build together. But we also have to check up on one another and make sure that everyone's doing fine. So how's everyone doing here? Everyone's doing well?
By the way, FTX just had a press release, and if you guys remember, Sam tweeted something along the lines of, FTX US is fine, it's a different entity. Yeah, it's fucking bullshit. They just posted, and they just filed for Chapter 11 proceedings. For those who are not that well versed in what Chapter 11 means, it means that they're filing for bankruptcy, and FTX US is inside that filing. So
Yeah, the thing about that is how they opened up withdrawals to Bohemians yesterday. So like, what was left all got withdrawn from all these people from like the Bahamas. Like, so gross. So I don't know if y'all follow like Algod trading like one of the big so like he like openly admitted to like buying KYC from like a like Bohemian person, and the people are saying that guy's gonna go to jail. We'll see. Like he was taking out like it might have been $2 million, $3 million, something like that, and he was like making it all public. Oh God.
Yeah,
it's disgusting, really. Like, yeah, we're doing all right. Thanks for asking, but that's bullshit, man. This whole space is fucked. Like these cocksuckers, man. Fucking, I don't know. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, like I don't even think we have any real community people that were super exposed. I know I talked to Remnants the other day, and they had some people that were like massively affected. I hope that I don't hear any horror stories about very many Guild Saga people. I think a lot of the Guild Saga people were, pretty diligent about keeping their stuff off of centralized exchanges. But I mean, geez.
So I don't know if anybody's launched on Magic Eden before, but like their process was that you had to have an FTX account when you minted.
Oh wow!
So that's So if you were stuck like minting and trying to get your funds out at that time, like that's how they sent funds out. When they closed the mint, it got sent to an FTX account. That was part of their process of like like
Wait, who is this?
verify
Verification.
people, So
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, and it saves them work. Like if you've already made an FTX account, like you did they did the KYC for you, so that makes sense.
yep. But you hope that they just didn't keep.
Yeah, that's pretty gross and scary.
Yeah,
I
it's
haven't
really
heard any.
tough.
I haven't heard anything from Magic Eden. Has anybody heard anything from them at all about it?
Not a blip. So I'm kind of curious to hear more.
I hope nobody notices that we just made everyone make an FTX account.
It'll be interesting to see how they're associated with them, though. I mean, hopefully, hopefully
Justin
not, right?
Kahn came out and immediately said that they were fine. That was pretty sick. By the way, look at Fractal, Gyris. That's another place to find gamers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we had chats with Fractal like a while ago, probably 3-4 months ago. I don't know. At the time, we just didn't. It sounds strange, but we just didn't find them a good fit for us. Like they just didn't quite have what we needed. Like their SDK documentation just wasn't quite in order. I don't know. They've probably come a long way, but I know they're quite connected, and I know like the CEO is like the Google Drive guy. So I mean, they definitely have the potential to be like quite a big player, but yeah, just hasn't been a good fit for us yet.
Yeah, I think Fractal's been pretty interesting as a player within the ecosystem. It's just tough that everyone kind of goes to Magic Eden simply because there's volume there, right? But I mean, hopefully that changes in the future. I know there's been a huge debate around royalties and stuff. Kind of curious about that as well for you guys, for projects out there, kind of building in the ecosystem. How much do you guys rely on your royalties for like kind of the longevity of your projects, or at least how much were you accounting for that to be a part of like maybe server hosts or anything like that? Like, how is that impacting you guys?
I mean, not anymore. I would say we never really. It was definitely always something that we were planning on using. I mean, that is definitely a big part of NFTs and why we started this. And I mean, we were actually about to do a big partnership with Magic Eden, and then we threw that in the trash because clearly wasn't worth our time. Anyways, I would take a look at like Hyperspace or what is it, Hyperscape?
Yeah,
Fuck.
hyperspace.
Yeah, Hyperspace.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to fill out a police report, and so I'm a little.
Oh, are you all right?
Yeah, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Someone dropped a big bag of medical waste in on the fucking like right by the gate where my apartment is. I live in like a really nice part of Austin, so it's like definitely no one who lived around here. It's probably one of the unfortunate guys living under the bridge or something. I'm good, but I was having a long walk to go. I had to talk to the police officer and stuff like that. But yeah, the creator royalties definitely was a big thing, I would say. And I just think it's a big thing for all games, especially smaller games who aren't able to raise massive amounts of funding. I mean, if this would have happened in the beginning, I mean, I don't think we would still be here. I don't think most of these companies would still be here. But a lot of us have been able to establish and able to overcome that adversity.
Yeah, 100%. I think like one of the biggest pulls into the ecosystem, at least from a creator's perspective, is like the ability to retain royalties, right? Your ability to like retain value beyond simply just pushing out this like one thing past the inception. So I think I'm interested in seeing kind of where it comes back from there in the future, and I'm hoping that the new standard is enforced in like a beneficial way that helps everyone kind of grow in the ecosystem. But I mean that also like introduces new questions around like if you have, for example, a platform that is involved in the old standard of NFTs, will this new standard have to be kind of indoctrinated into your program via like a rewriting of code or anything through your system's end to make it possible? I guess we'll have to see when that standard is introduced and if it is introduced. But I saw Guild Saga was going to unmute your mic. What'd you guys have to say?
I was just going to say we actually touched on this subject last night at our AMA, and we like let the community know that all the people that are still paying real royalties we appreciate, because we have seen a decent amount of people that are just optionally like opting in to pay the royalties, so that's been nice. But we went ahead and reassured that we will not be switching any of our NFTs to the like new Metaplex like forced royalties thing, because we had some people that were concerned about that. That's not something that we will be doing.
And why is that the case? Like, why did you guys choose not to do that? Just curious.
We just are trying to stay in line with the Web3 ethos, and I don't know if you've like used one of those or messed with one of them. It's like a weird thing where it's like bricked in your wallet unless you actually use a certain smart contract. So it just feels kind of gross. It doesn't feel very like Web3 friendly.
Yeah, actually, I had a minting experience last night. I minted what was it? The Atom Ape X Brave browser NFT.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's on a standard. It's on the new standard. I think it was pushed through Cardinal Labs though, actually, which is kind of interesting. But you can only trade it, or you can't even. It's not even just trading, but you can only transfer it as well through
Right.
hyperspace and Coral Cube, which I
Yeah.
thought was super interesting. It felt kind of weird, like just like you mentioned, right? Because I was trying to send an extra one that I bought to a friend, and I was like, "Why is this not loading?" And I was like, enforced royalties makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to talk down on anybody that like goes with that as like a start of their project. I just feel like it's kind of a gross thing if you minted one way to change it. Like, I think there's a way that new projects could maybe have like a certain core product that enforces royalties, and then maybe some of the other pieces of their project are open in a normal NFT style, as just like a way to fund their project.
But normal NFT has a royalty. I mean, it was always having a royalty.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of fair, but obviously it's not enforceable. So, did it really have it?
That's
I
yeah.
personally, like, I think it really showcases the fact that we need to have our own marketplaces. Like games, look, you look at any really successful game, and basically all transactions will happen. I mean, we're talking Web2 games, right? But like, Fortnite, right? You're not going to an external marketplace. Everything goes through their website. Everything happens there. Like, the move is going to be for games, at least in my opinion, like that you will go through your own marketplaces. It'll just be part of the user experience. It'll be part of your user profile, the gamer profile that you create for people, right? Like, so I think eventually this won't even be an issue where, like, at least for games, Magic Eden becomes, or any of these marketplaces don't really do a lot of volume for you. Like, maybe a little bit, but like if you really build a good game, like, are people going to go buy GTA off Magic Eden if that was the case? Like, the GTA is a household name. You want to become a household name, and then everything just goes through your centralized exchange in a sense, which is a bit unfortunate, but I think it's a necessary evil that you have to do. I don't know.
I mean, the only pushback there is it's like, are we even Web3 anymore if you do that? Like kind of the cool thing about Web3 is that if you have an open standard, then community and projects and things can build off of your product without you like allowing, which is kind of like what builds out the ecosystem. So it's like if we have everything tied to our own project, then it's like all these like lending platforms and all this stuff like wouldn't really exist.
I think there's
Yeah,
definitely
I don't know. I feel like that's like an
structural.
extension of the Web3 world. I don't know. I mean, for me, like, Web3 is about owning your assets. Like, that's, and giving. What drew me in was being able to provide, royalties to creators perpetually. Like, that's what got me hooked, right? Like, I thought that was just such a cool idea. So I don't know, the whole lending platforms and everything is a bit beyond me personally, but I see where you're coming from.
Didi, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I think generally this whole debate needs to be considered together with the user experience as well, because I mean, in terms of if you do actually want to achieve massive adoption for your product, be it a game or an exchange, or yeah, one thing you've got to really nail down is the user experience. And I think there's a balance to be struck between decentralization and user experience, because there's no way to achieve. I mean, there's no technical way right now that we can achieve a seamless user experience while achieving decentralization at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like eventually everything's going to be blended together in a mix of both. It's not going to be clear whether your game is Web 3, Web 2. It'll just kind of, everything will be taking ideas from both spaces and kind of mix them together eventually. It'll be a lot more blurred.
I mean, I think that's a benefit too, though, in its own right. At the end of the day, it's like if you are able to see what has worked and what not has not worked within the traditional Web 2 space, and then you're seeing what's on the same end working and not working on the Web 3 space, and you kind of can join the stuff that works from both sides, then you create an optimal experience not only for yourself as a project launching the space and building out, but also for like the users who are trying to like play your game and trying to enjoy themselves too. I think there's like goods and bads for both sides, and just finding that happy medium and like creating that standard is going to be important for games building into the future. And I think that's why it's so important for us now within the Web3 space to be pushing these boundaries and creating something that we all can enjoy using as well as like own truly for ourselves. So here's to more of the Web3 building, and here's to more of Web3 gaming, creating kind of more ripples within the overall gaming industry. I think we're still so very early, and there's still so much more for us to accomplish, and so much more for users to kind of experience within our platforms. So, cheers to that, guys. Thanks for being a part of the forefront.
Charge.
Well, we're also at the top of the hour. DD, did you want to close this off after an hour, or what are your thoughts around the timing of the space for this?
Yeah, I don't really have a timing on the space for this. If people want to stay on, we can stay on and talk a little bit more. If not, we can close it off as well.
Yeah, what are you guys thinking?
I was gonna say, everyone, make sure you follow the person to your left, right, above you, below you. This is how you guys get alpha. This is how you get more knowledge in the space. Really, this is how you get better. I mean, FTX was a huge clusterfuck, but you know who's going to survive? The people who did it right, and the people who were building strategically and confidently. I think those are the teams who are going to make it, and they're going to rise from those ashes. And you'll continue to see them post crazy stuff and accomplishing new goals. For us, we have our Polygon Mint coming up. Turn on notifications for that. That should be a really big deal. We're going to be partnering with OpenSea, partnering with Polygon Studios to make that happen. And so it should be a really interesting time as we venture farther into our cross-chain journey. Also, be ready for the FIO registration. There's prizes with that, as well as a discount when you register it. So yeah, if anyone else has any remarks.
Yeah, great stuff. Guild Saga, Gyris, anything from your guys' end for your guys' projects that our listeners should be aware of?
I got a question for Gyris, actually. Do you already have the new minigame like planned out for your new race? I know that Bora was like racing, and what is it, Mara, I think is your new one, the like alien looking dudes. Like, do you already have the minigame planned for that one?
So the Mara will be incorporated into the first minigame, which is AUG racing, which is the Bora and the AUG. So the AUG was the free mint for our Bora holders. We are going to release a new version of the beta next week, and we hope that that'll be like a substantial update where people are really going to get, for the first time, really get a good feel for how things are going to flow for our mini game. So yeah, just stay tuned. It's just really hard, like it's hard to build a game. It takes time, but yeah, thanks, man. That's cool that you've been keeping track of that. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, I played some MetaOps too. I dabble.
For sure. Thanks for bringing us all together. I love all you guys. Like these are all names that I've seen around for a long time now, and yeah, like definitely solid games that'll hopefully withstand the test of time. So yeah, thank you.
100%. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and if you haven't yet, check out our second pinned tweet. It's kind of a thread around our Zanis list and a little bit more details into what that looks like, as well as the link out to actually apply. So if you haven't taken the chance yet to apply for this community that we're trying to curate around like the best and brightest for the Web3 gaming ecosystem, I highly recommend you check it out. The application process is actually fairly quick as well, and we'll be rolling it out throughout the upcoming weeks. And so we'll be live for a little while too. If you're not feeling up to it today, you can always do it tomorrow. But make sure to check it out. Anyone else closing remarks? DD, Brick, anything?
Yeah, just as a final closing remark, just now Coach mentioned a few gaming guilds that they're in contact with. If you do have personal connections to not just Coach, to anyone in this space right now, if you do have any personal connections to anything to do with gaming related that you think you can help bridge a connection to help build the Zenny list, please reach out to us, help us make the connection, help us make the space bigger.
All right, and with that, I think we're going to close it off for today. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
No, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thanks for the host, guys.